This is another reason why the UK is bad vibes. I always say the UK is bad vibes, and this is the greatest example you're ever gonna see of the UK being bad vibes. Look at that title, courtesy of the BBC. Campaigner wins legal fight over park festivals. When they say when they use the word campaigner, right? That sounds like, to me, one person, one Karen is somehow responsible for the cancellation of all festivals in the park, in one park. She's responsible for stopping everybody's fun. That's why that's why the UK is bad vibes. Because one Karen is responsible for absolutely the gentrification of one area. Maybe the other neighbors don't really give a fuck. Maybe the other neighbors don't really care to be involved. Maybe some of them are actually a fan of the raves and shit, or a fan of the festivals when they come around. And again, they only last for what, a few months, usually very specific hours, usually never past 10 p.m. But still, this campaigner won a legal fight to end all park festivals. I think it's a Brockwell Park, if I'm not mistaken. Absolutely insane how that happens. Like that power imbalance is so weird to me. Why there's never like a middle ground, there's never a compromise. It's always just weighted entirely on the local residents, which I understand why. I get it, right? If you live around Brockwell Park, in the surrounding areas, and there was a time when there was probably no festivals there. Then suddenly Brockwell Park becomes a location for festivals, and unfortunately promoters are very they're very copycatty, isn't it? A lot of promoters and event organizers are not very original. So a lot of promoters will see someone else doing something, be like, oh shit, I'm going to do that too, right? So most likely that's what happened. Somebody just saw somebody else doing the festival or a rave at Brockwell Park. It went very well, and then suddenly everyone's doing it. And now suddenly you're inundated by festivals. But still, in London, we have very strict licensing laws and sound pollution laws and shit. So these festivals can't go that long anyway. They can only last until about 10, maybe 8, maybe, I don't know what time it is usually. And surrounding areas, they probably have police and whatever else getting people away from the place as well to kind of disperse so no one's loitering around. There's, like I mentioned at the start of the show, there's no benches anywhere to sit. Most of them are fucking, divided with little separators or have little knobs on them to make them uncomfortable to sit on for a long time. So it's not like anyone can loiter and just hang around. Usually at most festivals, I think, apart from the staff, usually the main crowd disperses soon after the festival is finished. So it's not even like you're going to have a bunch of people being antisocial all around your house. So you have to deal with the noise for like a few hours and then it's kind of over. But for some reason, one person can determine whether or not a whole bunch of festivals go on. It's not even like a compromise of like, okay, cool, let's try and meet in the middle. Maybe we try and restrict the hours a little bit. Maybe this, maybe that. Maybe we, install some sound insulation, temporary ones for the meantime or in your house so you're not too disturbed. Something. No, it's just, it's either you do it or you don't, and if you don't, it's usually because of one campaign or one neighbor being annoyed. It's absolutely crazy how much power local residents have in these type of places. But let's read the article. Power and influence. The campaigner has won a High Court challenge over the use of South London's park for music festivals. Lambeth Council has permitted Brockwell Park near Herne Hill to host a series of events such as Mighty Hoopla, which are expected to attract hundreds of thousands of people. Local resident Rebecca Shaman took legal action, arguing that the council did not have the correct planning permission, with a judge ruling in her favour. Rebecca Sharman is a legend, isn't it? She put her full name there, by the way. She's got a full name out and about there. She's probably getting so much abuse on social. I pray for her DMs. She's probably getting so much abuse on social. A Lambeth Council spokesperson said, "We're currently assessing the impact of this judgment and determining next steps." Ms. Sharman's argument centered around planning laws prohibiting a change of use of parks. Mrs. Sharman's argument centered around planning laws prohibiting a change of use of parks for more than 28 days each year without additional planning consent. Presiding over the case, Mr. Justice Mould found the parts of the park would be used for events for as many as 37 days. The judge said that the planning was only about the lawfulness of the council's decision to grant permission for additional days, a decision she described as irrational. Okay, so she was okay with them doing 28 days of festivals a year, but then when they went up to 37, she's like, you guys gotta chill. So it's a different story. They're making it seem like she cancelled it because that makes sense though. But then I don't understand why they cancelled him. If she was fighting to stop it from being 37 days a year, why didn't it just reduce it back to 28? Why do all the festivals have to be cancelled? I guess, no, I think I've said it myself. I think I figured it out. I guess the 37 days where the festivals are going to get cancelled, not the other 28. So not all of them, I'm assuming. The judge said the ruling was only about the lawfulness of the council's decision. Ms. Sharma told the BBC London, "We're feeling elated. It's been a long time coming. It's regrettable we had to take Lambeth Council to court. It isn't what we wanted to do, but we felt were not engaging with us. This has been going on for years. It isn't a one-off situation. It's been a consistent deterioration of the park to a point where the community had to speak up to protect the park for future generations." Wow. You know what? I'm not mad at this, you know. I ain't mad at this. Part of me's not mad at this. I'm not sure if I'm growing up. Part of me's not mad at this because the parks in London, some of them are kind of really in a bad state of repair. The condition of some of the parks in London are it's really kind of depressing. Even more so when you pass by local parks and there's like no kids at them, right? Which makes sense because, you know, kids are on their phones or whatever else it may be, or on their laptops and shit at home, streaming and shit like I am. So it's, you know, that's what it is. But the parks that you do see available or that you do see that are open are full of trash, are just in a poor state, grass all fucked up and shit, trees all fucked up and shit, gates all fucked up and shit, benches all fucked up and shit, right? That's just from people just not looking after them. I can't imagine the type of damage that us Brits could do to a park during a festival, because we're also not as much as I kind of bemoaned at the start of the show, the fact that London doesn't have a lot of places to chill during the summer, just to hang out in parks on benches and shit. We have to be honest too, we're not really good custodians of our kind of local amenities or whatever, parks and shit. We're not good custodians. Because I think about Notting Hill Carnival. I think if Notting Hill Carnival doesn't have the big presence of police, big presence of cleaners, big presence of stewards, whatever they have, that after, like, if we were left to our own devices, if London just kind of said, hey, we kind of treat you guys like grown-ups who go to Notting Hill Carnival, you guys are going to be the ones to decide how you kind of clean up at the end, right? We're going to just treat you like grown-ups. We're going to assume you're going to throw stuff in the bin. If that was the case, the place would be a tip. We won't do it. I've seen those pictures of festivals after, where they take pictures of the festival after, and there's people just leaving tents, sleeping bags in places, you know, tampons, condoms, underwear. People just don't take care of places at all. So yeah, I can understand this slightly. I can understand this if they're looking at it mostly in the angle of protecting a park. Shadi, we are hoping to come to an agreement where events can still continue, but on a much lower level and also more connected to the community. What? Okay, now this is where you're going out of the way. On a much lower level, and why do they have to be connected to the community for? Why can't it just be like a festival that just do as a festival? Why does it have to be community orientated? Yes, I know it's hosted in the park, but the park can also be a location to do events at. Honestly, man, these people are so boring. Lawyers of Lambeth Council, our festival organizers summer events, both asked permission to challenge the decision, but the judge refused. So you can't challenge the decision. However, they are still able to ask the Court of Appeals permission to challenge the decision directly. I'm assuming that Rebecca woman is this one here in the black. I don't know why. Oh no, it isn't actually. It's this lady here. Rebecca Sharman, the one that actually got all the festivals locked off, is this lady there. This lady with the red trousers. Her DMs must be going crazy, bro. She's putting her face upright in central as a person who locked off all the festivals in Brockwell Park. What a brave woman, honestly. She's really brave for doing that. The Academy Award winning actor Sir Michael Rylance, who is a supporter of the campaign, described the ruling as a wonderful news. Emily in Brockwell Park told BBC, I think the result is brilliant. I've been going to the festival for many years now. However, the destruction of the park after is pretty bad. I really am pleased. No one, this place, honestly. Matt, who lived in the area for past 12 years, said, I'm really happy with the outcome because it's a win for the local community who've been fighting camp for a while. Have a local resident Lucy says, I think it's brilliant to bring festivals to Brockwell Park. I think it's a great celebration of culture. We need to give opportunities to young people. We need to keep art alive. Exactly. And also it's just music for the summer. Like, honestly, it's summertime. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know some people don't like it, but you're going to hear more people in cars blaring music. You're going to hear people more in the street with fucking, you know, Bluetooth speakers on, singing, dancing and shit. It's the summer. Like, how can you be that miserable? It's the fucking summer. Get over it. And then it's over, by the way. Then you can reclaim your park. Then the park is yours again. It doesn't even last that long. Summer's not even that long here in the UK. Like, it's such a bizarre thing. It's not like they take up the whole park either. It's like usually it's one kind of area that they kind of take over, and that's basically it. It's usually cordoned off, sorry. Like, I don't know, but I'd imagine as well living there day to day and seeing the, the condition the park gets in, opening your window and smelling all the piss from people pissing all down the streets next to your car. That could probably be a bit of a madness. Vomiting all over your fucking garden and shit. Yeah, I get, but I don't know. They're moving it. Go somewhere else, I guess, isn't it? There's people living in London and want it to be like Devon and shit. It's fucking crazy. Richard Harwood, KC for Sharman, has argued that Brockwell Park had increasingly been used for large commercial events in recent years, with substantial parts of the park being fenced off for the public during the events, with damage caused to the ground. But that's what they're. So what? Hold on. So they are saying that festivals fencing off areas isn't fair or something. That's a festival though. How are they meant to do it? They're meant to keep it open. You're not meant to fence off areas during the festival. Due to the inclement weather over the fucking weekend, one of the commercial events, the park effectively became a mud bath. So that's what happens during the festival, bro. Sandstorm, mud baths, that's it. If you read KC for Lambeth, council said the majority of the park remained unfenced and available for the public. Exactly. He also said that the council was able to lawfully decide how often the park was used and festivals were granted special permission if needed. However, Mr. Justice Mould found that in this ruling, Lambeth Council planning officer had erred in taking into account the mere prospect of planning permission being granted. The Protect Brockwell Park group has previously said it's not anti-festival and supports well-run, inclusive event. Yeah, they are anti-festival. Honestly, stand on your shit, bro. Say it with your chest. You got the whole fucking season of festivals cancelled in Brockwell Park, but you're not anti-festival. You want well-run, inclusive events, which basically means they want to be involved. That's what they're basically saying. They're saying that we're not involved and we want to be involved. Which I guess, I get, but come on, let's be real. Let's be real. The group said in a statement, these large-scale, high-impact commercial festivals are damaging Brockwell Park ecology, heritage, and community. So you can't have festivals in parks. You can't have clubs in areas as well because residents complain about it. Where are you meant to enjoy this music? You can't do it outside, you can't do it indoors. Where are you meant to do it? Where are you meant to do it? Please, someone tell me. Like, I do not understand. Gentrification is one of the most weirdest things to kind of get your head around, because when one person who lives in these areas tells you about the horrors that they encounter living in an area like Dawson during its peak and how crazy that was, how people piss all over your doors and vomit all over your streets and shit, I get it. But then the other side of things, they just lock off all of the clubs. They just, cancel all the fucking late licenses, require you to have a special license to even open a bar or a club and shit. So it just completely, destroy that industry. Cool, you appease the neighbors and shit. But then what happens to the people that want to do that stuff? What happens to people that enjoy going on nights out to clubs and shit? What can they do? Cool, we found this other thing where we have these day parties, right? We have these kind of like unfold where you start from 12 all the way to 12. Even those are coming down because some places are complaining about them. So they don't like the 12 to 12 events. Printworks closes down. You don't want people to be doing festivals outdoors in the parks and shit. Like, where else are we meant to go? Like, I really don't get it. It's going to get to a point where the UK is going to turn into a place where people just like go from here to places in Europe to go and rave. They go to mainland Europe to go and rave. If they want to have their raving kicks, they book a flight to Ibiza, they book a flight to Berlin, other places, Amsterdam and shit. They have their fun there and they come back. Because these places just, for whatever reason, the UK and neighbours and shit, they just don't like fun. They really don't like fun. They really, really, really don't like fun. It's strange. I hate it personally. Like, I want to see a compromise. That's what I want to see. I understand what neighbours and residents feel like. I get it. I kind of understand their point of why they hate these things. But there has to be a compromise. There has to be some way we can meet each other in the middle, where it's not just like all weighted on the side of the residents and they get the final say in every decision. Like they get to fucking change fundamentally licensing laws. They get to kind of close down entire industries, entire clubs, shut down entire strips, entire streets, shut down entire festival seasons. Like, it's absolutely insane. Like, one person complains and they shut everything down. Like, wow, that power is fucking wild, man. Curse your enemy. Warning of devastating blow to London's culture after campaigners win a court case deeming Wide Awake, Mighty Hoopla and More must be cancelled. A warning for devastating blow. London culture has been made after the campaign has won a court case that deems Wide Awake Mighty Hoopla must be cancelled. Last month, it was reported that local residents began crowdfunding for legal action against music festivals held in Brockwell Park that they claim were unlawful. The summer festivals happening in the park included Wide Awake, Mighty Hoopla and Field Day, Cross Tax and City Splash. You know what's really funny, by the way? If I'm not mistaken, Field Day in Brockwell Park has been known. I'm not too sure if that's the same park. I'm not sure if that's a new one, but I remember back, I've never been to Field Day, but I remember back in the day when Field Day started, one of the major complaints about Field Day was the fact that the sound was always terrible. That was a major complaint about Field Day. The sound is garbage. It's so fucking low. It's so low. You have to get right to the front to hear anything. It's super shit. I wonder if that's the same park, because that's hilarious, by the way. Imagine if that's the same park. If that's the same park, they purposely go out their way to lower the volume, to limit how high the volume can go, to appease the neighbors. That's still not good enough. So now they're going to just lock off the entire festivals. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, neighbor. The dispute appears to be surrounding how long the park is closed off to the general public. The council granted a special certificate of lawful development to Brockwell Park, an events company that allows for temporary change of use of the space that doesn't require planning permission for a total of 28 days a year. That's obviously to make it easy to kind of set up and close down, I'm assuming. However, the residents group argued that the council had not taken into account the additional time the park is fenced off during the construction and dispensing of the site, which they claimed led the park to be off limits to local residents for 30. That's not true. The whole park isn't off limits. It's sections of the park. Surely it's sections. It can't be the whole park. Oh my, Rebecca Sharman. Rebecca Sharman took action to protect the park against the council over the dispute. A leaked letter published by Bricks and Buzz, written by solicitors and representative of the park, claims that the council had been told no Brooklyn events can go ahead. And as there has been no planning permission for Brockwell Park's events, the events has to be cancelled. The letter writes, also along the members is actor Mark Rylance. However, the Nighttime Association has warned that the ruling could lead to devastating blows for London's culture that will directly impact thousands of people. The supply chain from staging, lighting and companies to local food and drink vendors would suffer greatly heavy loss. Actually, no, I'm curious to see, what do the comments on Protect Brockwell Park Instagram say? I'm curious to see what their comment section's like. Are the people agreeing with them? People kind of fighting against it? What do they say here? This is it, right? We won. Let's see. We won, and not one rich festival amongst us, just a bunch of people who want to protect the park. What do the comments say here? Let's see what the comments say. The comments on Protect_Brockwell_Park. One person says here, congratulations, a win well deserved. Another person here said, it's unbelievable. I'm really disappointed by the decision as a local resident. Only a portion of Brockwell Park is being closed, and the rest remains open for residents to use. Events like this bring energy to the borough, attract visitors, boost the local economy by driving business to shops, cafes and restaurants. They also create jobs, supporting artists and vendors. Beyond the economic benefits, festivals foster a sense of community, cultural expression, and offer residents a unique entertainment. Exactly. And this, even if you don't like them, I'm sorry, you live in a fucking city. You live in a city, multicultural country, a multicultural city as well at that. You have to grin and bear it. You have to grin and fucking bear it. It's for a couple of fucking months during the summer. It's not that deep. Grin and bear it. But yeah, let's see some of the replies. Big up this person. That's a really good comment, actually. What do some of the replies say? Do they agree with her person or not? Let's see what the replies say. The replies say, hello, Glasgow is a huge farm in the countryside. The two are not comparable at all. Brockwell is a green space in the capital city, providing some reprieve for locals, some of whom can't afford to go abroad or even coast. People don't want to lose that. Yeah, but they still, you have to share, bro. So what? The park is only for local residents that are just chilling. The park can't be used for other events, because you have to also imagine, I think the uptick in festivals in this country, there's actually be a direct correlation between the clubs closing. The only reason why we have so many festivals here in London, especially in recent years, because there's so many clubs are closing. That the club infrastructure is basically gone. So a way to kind of circumnavigate that is to do the whole 12 to 12 shit that people do, or to do festivals. That's the reason why they're so here. So if we had clubs, there wouldn't be so much strain and stress and demand put on these parks. But the fact that we're not in that situation, we have to share these spaces. And these spaces are being caught. It's not even like they're taking over the whole park. They're taking over a section of the park. And not even taking it over, they're just temporarily using it, calling it off for one bit. And then when it's over, it's over. Mamma mia, these people. Another person says here, absolutely disagree. Perhaps it would be worth going and talking to local business owners and who quickly realize they get nothing out of this scale of event. Have you actually seen the park? No, that's not true. They do get uptick in customers. Come on. Even a good example I'm going to use as the area where Fold is in like Canning Town. Like I was basically brought up there. My parents still live there and shit. And I know that local area has been booming because of the club opening. There's other clubs opening next to them. There's shops open around the corner next to Canning Town Station and shit. I'm sure the cafes around there, I've seen an uptick in customers coming in, hungover after Unfold or whatever else it is, wanting to have a fry up and shit. They all notice a big uptick, a big buzz. Even the area that I'm in, there was a time where we had a little club opening. Even on that strip, the off licenses will be getting way more business. People will be popping out to get cigarettes, popping out to get little drinks and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Yes, you might have to put up with way more antisocial behavior. I might be a bit more loud in the evenings, but come on, man, suck it up. Another person says here, no, let's continue what that lady said. She says they get nothing out of it. Have they actually seen the park after the event last year? Completely ruined and has not recovered from it since. Yet they planned even longer festival for this year. It's actually unbelievable not to be in favor. Another person here says, I live right next to the park and it brings absolutely nothing to the area. The money made is never seen. It's bad for local business. Why is it bad for local business though? Are they trying to say people just get funneled in and out? Is that what they're saying? People don't loiter around. People don't go to clubs. People don't go to like shops to get drinks or pubs and shit around the area. They just kind of get funneled into the festival and then funneled out. Because I'm assuming festivals also don't let you come in and out. So you just have to stay in there and drink and whatever you're doing there. So a lot of the money doesn't really go. I wonder why they're saying it doesn't see any money, or they're just being hyperbolic. The noise pollution is insane and the wildlife is being compromised by the park itself. It's a huge area that is blocked off, and if you live in Dulwich Road area or roadside, then your park is now just a fence unless you walk halfway around it. The ground didn't recover all last year and the residents hate it. Get nothing but rubbish tip at the end. Brockwell Park is for the local community and for the Swans, mate. Brockwell Park is for the local community and the Swans. But the local community can also include festivals, can't it? Why does it have to only include the local community that live locally around it? Can't it include everyone that lives in fucking London? But anyway, what can I know? I'm in agreement with the lots of points raised. However, I think the big question here is, what is a compromise? That's the big word. Why don't we ever compromise? Why is it always in favor of residents? Is the future after this result no live music events in the park? If so, how do we improve the experience for the area? The money's never seen. You can't go into a park very often. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Caroline Wood. Who's he responding to? Who's that guy responding? Let's see this person. Caroline Wood. What's she say here? Do you have any concerns about the impact of the music industry cancelling planned festivals? Wide Awake has made amazing varied events. Generally interested in your views. Very good question. It's definitely a concern. Has been for a very long time with so many venues and grassroots spaces disappearing. There's no doubt that spaces for music need to be protected, but I think the concept of using community spaces for this type of private events needs to be reconsidered for so many reasons. I've been to Lambeth Country Show for my entire life. I love it. Generally brings the community together. I'll be devastated to see it go, but this has to go out of this got out of hand with the number of events and the length of time the park is being fenced. The impact of the park and the usability for the local residents. It's important green space for the community. So I guess they're trying to say that the whoever did the licensing got a little bit too greedy and started doing way too many festival events there. They were okay. They were just about tolerable. They were just about tolerating the 27 days it was closed off. When it went to 37, they got really angry. But then they just locked off all the festivals. That's what I don't like. There has to be a little bit of a compromise there. It's genuine hell for some people I know that live in the flats opposite, and the wildlife park really suffers. The main problem is the length of time the events go on for with setup and D-rig, I think. This complex issue that we just need to find balance. Yeah, but the balance isn't just cancelling everything, innit? God damn it, these people. Anyway, there's somebody else here. Congratulations, use the park as a tax to locals. Lambeth Council. Congratulations, thank you for one and all. Well done. Shit. Okay. Most people, but then if I'm not mistaken, don't people in the countryside also complain about festivals? I'm sure I've heard of people that live in countrysides where they have festivals, especially illegal ones, but just even whatever, they also complain. about the conditions the festivals get, about the condition the festivals leave their grounds in and shit. So there's no winning, really. There's no winning in this situation. Everyone complains. They just want all the spaces to be left alone. Ugh, I guess so, man. 50 of you who, because you organize well, can overcome the happiness and will be hundreds of people, not to mention well, whoever is unhappy about this outcome should complain to Lambeth for trying to put together such a massive series of events without the right planning permission. You should also see who's behind these events. KKKR is one of the investors, for example, and so still you want the public space used by these people. Okay, I guess. But yeah, big up those guys, I guess. Big up those guys. Protect our parks. They protected it. Now the festivals are gone. Gone, 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 gone.